Welcome back. Another impromptu stream. We've managed to conjure in Mikey to, is that the word? Like conjure up? We've managed to pull Mikey away from his desk anyway for 15 minutes. It'll probably blow out to 45, much like the crypto discussion. Just talking about choices and personal responsibility, if we want to use those two words, and almost like getting outside the system as such. I'll run you through a couple of examples that we've used in previous Money Mail lessons, and then some of the things that Mikey sees when dealing with clients, and then some of the things that I see when people are leaving comments on the Keep the Change Facebook page, for instance. And we're just going to get stuck into a pretty thought-provoking conversation that may not be too exciting for some, but could be life-changing for others.
Awesome, mate. Let's roll. I think what started this up was the snapshot of the little comment that you sent me, right? And I was like, yeah, it's all about choice. Like, you can choose that way and that's cool, but you can choose to be other ways.
Yeah, 100%. So I was saying to Mikey yesterday, like there's Facebook ad that's running for Keep the Change, and it's talking about how a lot of people live paycheck to paycheck, and people are kind of arguing why that is, and whether things are too expensive, whether rent's too expensive, mortgages are too expensive. And there's so many interesting comments and different ways of thinking, and people kind of saying, well, actually, like, I choose to live like this, and I'm not going to sacrifice my time with my children for more income and things. Like, everybody's got a different way of deciding how they want to live. And I think caveat from the start of a conversation like this is actually just taking some time individually to understand what it is that you want from your life, because I think it's so easy for people to put out to the world what they think is the right way to do it. But if you're trying to learn from somebody, but that's not actually what you want from your life, then perhaps you're looking for answers from the wrong person.
Yeah, 100%. Like there's no like right way to do it, right? Like if you've just got like rock solid jobs, smashing a 60K paycheck, and you've got everything under control and you're enjoying it, and that's all you wanted, then that's cool. But don't get confused if you're in that situation and then you don't like that there's no option for you to get out of that. Like, you just have to choose to make the changes and then act on it. And honestly, if you do it for a couple of years, you'll be sweet. Like, you just got to, it's hard, but you've got to do hard stuff if you want to make changes, right?
So I guess to take this to practical terms, what we're talking about is you might have an income of, say, like 48,000, and then that then decides for you all of the things, or all the ways you look at the world. You're like, a house is expensive, rent's expensive, food's expensive, overseas trips are expensive, everything's expensive, because everything you're mapping back towards the money you have available. So that can then determine the lens that you take. And what Mikey's saying and what we're saying through the stream is, don't get stuck in thinking, well, that's then the outcome for your life, because that is the way it is. You can change that $48,000 number, and then your world changes. I'll give you an example. Growing up, I thought that people who had cleaners for their house, I'm like, fuck, they are filthy rich. Like, who do they think they are? Why would they, is cleaning so below them that they think they should spend money on getting a cleaner? They must have so much money. And now I'm in my 30s, and this year we've had a cleaner, and it's purely become because I've learnt what I had learnt growing up, or what I filtered in to be my truth. I'm like, fuck, I had to unlearn that when I started to realize, like, okay, this is causing friction around the house. This is slowing me down from doing the things that are more valuable with my time. This is great to be able to give a lady who wants a bit of extra work, and we can provide that for her. She likes doing it. I don't like doing it. And so actually looking at it from a different light and making a decision, okay, I'm willing to sacrifice some of my income or disposable income to spend and replace it with time back in my day.
Yeah, sometimes it's hard to get your head around those kind of things, like having your food delivered to your house so you don't have to go to the supermarket on your way home from work and stuff like that. Like, that $10 delivery fee, is that really necessary when you can just stop on the way? But it's like, I get an extra hour at work which I could make a lot more than $10 type thing, like having that, working out that opportunity cost, and then, you know, it's a choice if you choose to do it or not. But knowing the opportunity cost there and then acting on it and making it count's key. Like there's no point just going to get your countdown delivery delivered to your house if you're going to watch Netflix. Like that's a downward spiral. But if you can use it the correct way, then just like the cleaner, that kind of stuff's awesome, right?
Yeah. And I guess from comparing my old employee life to now my business owner life, like my income was capped and my income had a set amount, and I would base all of my purchasing decisions off of that level of income. And I would look at the directors and the cars, excuse me, that they would drive and the things that they were doing and think, wow, like, you know, that's because they've got so much money so they can go and do those things. And I had to understand that if I wanted to do my life differently, I was going to have to change either the way I was spending or the level of income that I was bringing in. And now being deeper into business and getting way past what I was earning as an employee, your world just, it's like you open up a whole new set of chapters. You have a whole new set of problems because then you're starting to deal with like, okay, is it okay to pay for a cleaner? Like I thought for 20 something years that, you know, who do you think you are paying for a cleaner? Now I'm like, fuck, yeah, you know, I got that one wrong, or there is this wrong.
It's I mean, you would have been through it too. It comes a point when you're growing up, when you can keep complaining about like low income and expensive, and then it comes a point where like no matter how much you tell yourself that nothing's changing, so the only option is to like go and make the change. And I think like some people hit that point and some people don't, you know. I think you can definitely get stuck in society and stay down that rabbit hole of complaining, and it's hard and it's expensive and government this and policy that and, you know, minimum wage this and blah blah blah. But those are all things that you can't control, and you can complain about them, or you can not complain about them and still leave them out of your control and go sort it out. And yeah, it doesn't take that long, I don't reckon. Like if you sit down and think about it and get stuck in and then put some hard work in for a while, you can really make some cool changes.
Yeah.
I've seen it a lot with clients, you know, like I was saying this to you a while ago when we were talking about reviews. I think it was on the podcast or something. When I have a client that when I first very started like 3 years ago, and they just got a house, and it was because of talking about that and some changes that needed to be made, and they went and did it, and their life's completely different now. And for the 5 years leading up to that period, it was just same. And they went and made changes. I told one person to go and push their boss for a pay rise, you know, and it happened. That wasn't going to happen otherwise. I was like, just do it, try it. Like worst case scenario, no, cool, let's roll. Yeah. And just like little changes like that, and pushing yourself and pushing the how your brain's like automatically programmed to think, especially in New Zealand, because we've got a bit of that sort of agreeable nature down here, you know.
Yeah, I was just thinking, you know, as we're talking about this and as people are listening, try and think about things that you think are broken in the world. It's probably a good way for you to understand what things that you think you can't understand, like why they're happening, and then that's frustrating you, and then work out whether you can actually control that or what things you can do differently. And then secondly, like what things do you complain about? Ask your partner, ask your friends, like, hey mate, you know, hey girl, whatever, what do you find me complaining about a lot? And there'll be some real good insights into that of, well, you're always complaining about why you don't have enough money. And you're like, okay, well, what is that? You know, start to have some awareness around those things that you're often complaining about, because there's answers in those things.
100%. Yeah. Pulling yourself up on a few of those things it turns into a bit of fun, because then you start, when you get good at that and figuring out what triggers you, then you start pulling yourself up before you even open your mouth.
Yeah.
And that's like a little game, and it's a win, you know, like you pull yourself up, you're like, hang on, I don't need to complain about lockdown. We've just got to get to work, sort of thing, you know, like, or using something like that to, you know, it's like we're programmed almost to instantly think negative.
Yeah, we are.
The wrong way. I don't know what that is. I used to have it so bad, you know, and now it's just, you just train yourself out of it almost, and it's just like, right, the harder it gets, the harder I'll push back, sort of thing.
Yeah, and build up that resilience to keep going. And a couple of things that I learned over the last sort of 5 years that have really helped me with the way that I think about things. And one's from Gary Vee. He always talks about how everything's his fault. He's like, if a staff member leaves me, it's my fault. You know, if someone's upset in their work, like he just looks at everything as like, that's my fault, that's my fault. And some people would say that's a bad idea. Don't do that. You should have burdened that. You're creating things to be your fault. But what it does for him and what it allows you to do is just get over things way faster and be like, okay, sweet. I don't need to blame anyone. I don't need to be like, what went wrong here? Why did you do that? It's just like, hey, sweet. It's my fault. My sales are down. My fault. I probably should have thought about that. I should have been all over it. And you get to own it rather than going through this back and forth of like, okay, who's actually to blame here? Because no one wins when you go down that. And the other thing is accepting all the time that you are the sum of all of your life's choices. So where you are right now is because of all the decisions that you've made. And we're so quick to be like, nah, that's bullshit, man. That's because I got fired from my job, or this person left me, or my parent died, or whatever. Everybody's got that shit. So if you're not going to accept that actually the reason that you're in your exact position right now is because of the decisions that you've made, then you're going to continue longer down the path of not actually getting in control of your life and your shit.
Yeah, the whole thing, like, you have to be so careful about trying to block out certain parts of the noise. Like, there's one thing that will always be certain for every single person on the planet except two people, and one person will always be worse off than you, and one person will always be better off than you. You can't change it. Like, there's both ends of the spectrum. There's 7 billion people, and just get on with it. Like, that noise, you just got to wash out.
Yeah.
So like, that's why. What's that?
I was going to say, that's why, like, going back to the start, it's so important to, think about what it is that you want from life, not other people. Because if you compare yourself to other people, there's always going to be someone that's doing worse. There's always going to be doing someone that's better, like you say. And, you want to be waking up every day. Your goal is to be a better person than you were the day before, rather than trying to be better than somebody else with their better life.
I'm not sure how to do this, but if you can become a pro at not caring what other people think, and then really just think about what you like and try and do that, and don't worry about what anyone says to you, or like what you're doing or what track you're going down, man, life gets real good, eh?
Yeah.
I don't know how to explain to people to do it. Like, you have to really think about, like, for me, it was like working out like what I wanted life to look like in like 10 years, and really think about what that picture is.
Yeah.
And then, like, what I do day to day, if someone talks down to you or says you're doing this wrong, or I don't know, the good one at the moment, why don't you have a house or something like that? Like, who cares? Like, there's I don't know how to train that or teach someone that, but if you can become a pro at washing out that noise, man, that's gold.
Yeah, I think, like, you will care what people think about you, but you have to learn how to get over it faster, or teach yourself to be like, hey, that's not important. Because one of the ways that I remind myself is I just look at all the negative shit that people put towards politicians and think, well, fuck, they still turn up the next day and carry on with their job. Like, eventually it'll break some of them down, but like, imagine if they just stood up and imagine if Jacinda just rolled up today and was like, hey, team, I'm sorry, I can't give you this update. I've been reading all your comments about what you're saying with me, and I'm just like absolutely ruined by it, and I haven't done any work for the last 24 hours. There'd be some people that would come out positive towards it and be like, oh my God, what have we done? Then other people would be like, see, told you, weak leader, oh fuck, blah, blah, blah. So you're never gonna win that game. And I think when you learn that, then it helps you get over it faster, because there's always people that are going to be unhappy. And one thing I learned and got taught was that hurt people. And so if people are hurt, they will try and hurt other people. And once I understood that concept, I was like, they're not mad at me. Like, they're mad at themselves, and they just haven't figured their shit out yet. And then you start to actually, like, you get over it faster, and then you just let them roll. And so many times I've had people that I know are ripping me out behind my back and stuff have ended up sort of going full circle, like trying to be my mate, or trying to, almost like, get closer to me. And I'm like, hang on, like, I know what was going on here, but it's because they're hurt, so then they're trying to hurt somebody else.
Yeah, it's an interesting one. It's kind of like that happens in business too, right? Like when you get down into it, and well, what have we got here, Amanda? What other people think you? I like that. Goody. Good shit,
Yeah.
Amanda.
Yeah, so when you get into business, so
yeah, well, the same type of thing happens, right? Like, especially you see it all the time in like really disruptive industries.
yeah,
And then like it's like hate and regulation, and you've got to slow this down, and you can't do this, and then there's someone like Elon Musk who's trying to put a fucking Tesla on Mars, and you know, like, yeah, like you see that all the time. Like he gets smashed on the internet, and he just laughs.
yeah.
Like I think he's got 45 million people following him on Twitter or something, and he just winds them up. Like that's a great example of like he doesn't give a fuck. He's just carrying on. He's got a mission in his mind to make the whole world electric, solar powered tunnels, and fly to Mars and make organs in space. You know, like he's on a mission. There's no stopping his brain. Like you can say whatever you want to him, it doesn't affect him.
Yeah, because he's so driven by his direction of what he's trying to achieve, right? I think,
yeah,
that's so important for us. I guess if we think about like the income level side of things, like I did a lot of learning quite a few years ago about like how far money will go, and that inspired a couple of lessons for Keep the Change around what the average income looks like in New Zealand, what it can get you, and then what $100,000 income can look like. And I was, go back to the start and sort of thought, oh, people that make heaps of money, they're greedy, and oh, why do they need that much money? Can't they just be happy? And all those types of things that I thought were the right way to think, and then realize like actually they're just holding me back. They're just limiting beliefs or things that are getting in the way, or jealousy of me not getting what I thought that I could be earning. And I think you have to really get honest with yourself and be like, is the vehicle that I'm currently in to drive my income, whether that's your job or the investments that you have, is it going to generate enough income to help you get to the point of where you want to go? And if it's a no, then the faster you get out of that vehicle and get into a different one, then you start to get more in control of your life. But I don't think people should change vehicles until they really know where it is that they're trying to get to.
Yeah, definitely. Don't go and quit your job and do something rational if you're just thinking, oh, I don't get paid enough. Like you have to have a bit more of a structure and a plan in that. You want to make sure that you've got I don't think you can. I was a weirdo. Like I had like goals up on my wall in my bedroom when I was at mum and dad's and shit. And there's a big plan over like 10 years, and it's kind of all the same stuff, but I wrote it all down and put it on the wall and just look at it every day. I don't know if that's a good, like a helpful thing or just a weirdo thing, but most of that stuff that I had written up on the wall for 10 years, I've done in 3.
Wow.
Like it's there's still a few things that I've got to tick off, but I don't know if that's good advice. It's pretty weird writing shit up on your wall.
That's good. You're just keeping your goals front of mind. Like, I mean, I write mine down as a reminder every day. So that's the same thing. Like it's because you've got to constantly like remind yourself. Like if you've been programmed and wired through the shit you're watching and you're consuming for like decades, then it takes a long time to unwind it. And to put it into a more like accepted term, I'm working with this PT at the moment, and that started in January. And he's like, mate, you come down here and you work with me for an hour and you stand well, you lift well, you've got a great posture. And he's like, then you go ruin your body for 23 hours. He's like, when you're in here, you listen to me and you do shit how you're supposed to do it. And then you can go and fuck your body up. I don't care. But I'm like, man, he does care. Like he's like hitting me being like, wow, actually, yeah, I'm then just going slouching over. I'm like leaning on things. And he's like, you're only actually doing 1 hour a day of what your body needs. So suck it up and get it done. And I'm like, wow, okay. It's kind of weird when you put it like that. But then, going through this and he's showing me how to do stretching and stuff. And I've been doing that for 6 months. And he's like, wow, you've actually corrected a lot. Or you've undone the bad work you shouldn't have been doing over the last 10 years because you didn't have the education and now substituted it for good stuff. And you've actually undone like probably 5 years of work in 6 months. And he's like, but we're only just getting started. We need to undo the other 5 years, and then we need to start on the path of doing what we should have been doing. I'm like, oh, great. So it's interesting. Like
It's
people
a
will
long
accept.
road though, right? Like that's not easy. Like you've gone from that situation to being like, right, I can do this good for an hour. Now you're realizing that you're pulling yourself up to try and do it more hours of the day, every day, even when he's not there.
Yeah,
And eventually, like you can see that pattern coming, that it's kicking in, and eventually it will be every hour that you're not asleep.
yeah, and that's the beauty of goals is it gives you something to focus on. So then you start to be more awake to it. So then you do things differently, and that's why people set targets in business and outside of business and savings goals and stuff, and then they work towards it because the
Mm.
process is just as good as actually hitting it.
Yeah, I think that's the best part is how enjoyable the process part of like making a choice, choosing that if you what you've got right now is not what you want long term, and then making a choice to make a change, getting a goal, and then it's like the cool part is going through the journey on the way there. I can tell you for a fact, like I one of my goals was to buy like a brand new car. Once you've got the car,
Yeah,
it doesn't mean shit. It was the fact like of
nah,
the work that I put in and the plan I put in place and the go like everything, the work that you do to get there. It's just
yeah,
that's the cool part that you enjoy. When you get there, it doesn't mean shit. Like you can swap it out for another car now, but
yeah.
it's the
Well,
journey is
that's
the
how
cool
we're all
part.
humans love progress, right? So we're always chasing like the next car or the
Yeah,
model R or whatever. Like,
yeah. I like my car for the first 3 months, and now in my head I want another one. So I'm like, right, plan goes in place, new goal.
that's a Lambo, surely.
Absolutely.
I think that's one thing that I've used to get rid of and break my cycles of like negative and excuses and stuff is to look at other things people have done and be like, okay, like I reckon no one in New Zealand can have a Lambo. I'm like, well then how are people driving Lambos? What have they done? I'm like,
Yeah,
well, so I'm lying. I'm lying to myself. I'm just trying to hide from the fact that I don't want to put the work in. But that might not be my goal. That's usually, we're not at a big enough pain point to actually take the action to do what we need to do to get us to the next step.
yeah. It's an interesting one. It's like pain points drive motivation, right? So like if you get into enough pain, you'll make choices and changes no matter what. But if you're in this like comfortable spot and you just trickle along and keep doing what you're doing, nothing will change. It just
Yeah,
stays the same, but it's comfortable, so it's fine. That's like 90%, right? That's the 90% of society.
yeah. I'll pull this example up quickly and run people back through it from when we had this in the money mail lessons back in week sort of number 5. Well, in week number 4 to start with, we were looking at, what $52,000 looks like. The average income's actually gone up since I wrote this, but you're paying tax on that of 9 grand. Then you take your KiwiSaver out, it's going to leave you with 40 grand a year. It's going to last you for 52 weeks. And then you think about all the things you're paying for: your rent, your power, your phone, your internet, your insurance, food, miscellaneous. And then, of course, you want the old holiday or buy some birthday presents, and then clothing, or you can't live your life nude, can you? You probably get in trouble doing that these days. So that's, even for people that don't have it, well, for those who do have a student loan, you've got to take another 12% out of that as well. And that's probably why a lot of Kiwis are living paycheck to paycheck. And you can either accept that as the way and like, okay, well, that's how this is, or go, well, actually, some people aren't. So what are they doing to not do that? And you have to identify the cycle in your life or the thing that you're a part of that you're like, I don't belong here anymore. I don't want to live like that. I don't want to live paycheck to paycheck. I don't want to have no savings. I don't want to have a credit card. I want to break this cycle and I want to change it up. What do I need to do?
Yeah, 100%. It's an interesting one. Like if you're at a job and you're making 70K and you ask someone like, is there scope for like a bigger income? And they're like, oh, not really. But what does the boss make?
Yeah.
200, 300, whatever. Why can't you be the boss? Oh, it just doesn't. Well, you can like make a plan and figure out how to get it done. You just have to choose and make the change instead of being like, nah, there's no way to do that.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, there's people across the country that are just doing like the randomest things to make money. And You know, it's just
There's some crazy stuff out there at the moment.
Yeah,
It's good
yeah.
times.
There's just no excuses. Phil and I did a episode for business owners on how to add sales during a lockdown. That could be beneficial for even people that aren't in business, just to think about some of the things that business owners have to think about and how they continue to keep income coming in. But yeah, you know, you could stand up a channel where you help people with their fitness and you charge people to belong to it. You know, it's just the world is just such a weird place now with the internet, and I think Kiwis haven't really figured out how to take like a real true grasp of it just yet.
Yeah, I don't know if there's I still don't know if there's any like get rich quick schemes. I think it still takes like a commitment and some hard work for a extended period of time. But yeah, there's so much money flowing around in this internet world. It's crazy, eh?
Yeah, I think when people that don't like their jobs hear hard work, they're like, fuck, I don't like that. I don't like hard work, because when you do enjoy what you're doing, you're prepared to grind more. It's not that the work becomes easy, or that it's, you know, people are like, oh, you know, do what you love. You'll never work a day in your life, or whatever the saying is. You have to grind. You'll probably work even harder and longer, but you have the ability to be like, I want to do this. And because you want to do it, it helps you to go longer. And, you know, that's where you require like less discipline to do the work, because you're like, well, I actually want to do this. And, you know, like say we didn't want to do the stream right now, we'd be like, oh, mate, let's do it another time. But we're like, yep, sweet, keen as, you know, let's flip this on and we'll rip into it and we enjoy it. And then we'll get back to our lives and carry on. But some people would look at this and be like, oh, you know, that would be half an hour of their day. The boss has to pay for that. But we don't see this as work, right?
No, exactly. Yeah, once it's hard. Like, no matter if you really love what you're doing, you're still always going to have work to do. Like, I love the mortgage game and finance, right? Like, I really enjoy it. But there's always like parts of it that you just leaves a massive distaste in your mouth. But that doesn't matter. But it's a weird one. Like, when you achieve something in the game that you really enjoy, then it makes it all worthwhile and it's a bit more satisfaction.
Yeah, I think the easiest way for me to sum it up would be, like, if you're listening to this and you've always had this belief in yourself that you want more from your life, and you don't know how to do that, or you know, you've got no idea where to start, like, at least just acknowledge that you have it. Like, a lot of people don't have that, and they're like, man, they wouldn't be listening to this shit. They're tuned out by now. They're like, this isn't my thing. Like, fuck that. But if you do feel like that, then the sooner you get started on figuring out what that path is, like the better your life's going to be, and the happier you're going to be for the things that you'll learn by having a crack at going down that path.
Yeah, I think you can do it at any age, but I definitely think there's some merit in the younger you are, like the more you should just have a crack, eh?
Yeah.
Well, there used to be that saying that like 20s for learning and 30s for earning, or whatever it is. I don't know, party in your 20s and sort it out in your 30s. Fuck that. I reckon just get into it, eh?
Yeah, well, I tried that, mate, and now I'm playing catch up for the dumb shit.
Same.
Yeah. Now I'm working overtime to correct some of, just like I am in the gym with this PT. I'm fix up what I shouldn't have been doing in the 20s. But
it's like the stock standard way, though, right? Like, sort it out in your 30s, you'll be right.
Yeah. One of the books that really helped me that I read was a book called Think and Grow Rich. I don't know if you've read that one, Mikey, but a lot of people that I bump into that have an abundance mindset, they've read that book and sort of, you know, they'll still tune in with it like through to later on. But it talks massively about how the most successful people in the world are usually between the ages of 40 and 60. And there's all this pressure put on by ourselves, I think, younger people, to be like, oh, I need to clock it all in my 20s. I need to clock it all in my 30s. But actually, like, you know, you think of all the people that are really like worldwide kicking ass, they're usually between their 40s and their 60s. So we're not done. You know, we're not done when we turn 40. We're really just getting into it.
Yeah. That is the other thing. Like, I reckon get into it as stuck in as early as you can. But also, yeah, if you want to be like a bazillionaire, all those guys are closer to what we call retirement age, you know? Like that just
Yeah.
shows that it takes like 20 or 30 years to build a company like that.
Yeah.
Those
Yeah.
companies don't like it. Looks like Facebook turned up overnight, and yeah, of course, it had an exponential growth curve, but the effort that went in and still is going in is huge. Same with Amazon, same with Tesla. Like Tesla's nearly been broke multiple times, eh? And now they're just charging along. Had a record quarter last quarter.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, yeah, I think that's why people gravitate towards the concept of multiple forms of streams of income as well. And that's for me, it was like such a foreign concept, and for most Kiwis, I think, because you're sort of taught good job, and then your only maybe next form of income might be like a small dividend each year if you've got some shares, and that's going to become like a new thing for people. But when you start to get dividends from investments that you make that are like quite large amounts of money, yeah, you're like, oh fuck, I get it. I think
Yeah.
it took for me I took a dividend that was like a week's worth of rent, and I thought, oh shit, okay, so I need to try and stack this 52 times, and I'm never going to have to worry about paying my rent again. I'm like,
Yeah.
wow, I think I get it now.
Yeah, that's the same when you look at like Warren Buffett's net worth, and it's like
Yeah,
this until he's like 50, and then it's like woof, and it just
yeah,
like slowly builds up, and all of a sudden everything's just compounding. It's pretty cool,
yeah,
but it's hard to. I don't know why it just doesn't. I mean, that's why Keep the Change exists, right? Because we don't learn this shit. It's not at
yeah.
school. I'm pretty sure I don't remember compound interest at school.
Yeah, I mean things might have changed. It looks like there are some good things happening in the education space around finance and money, which is cool. But yeah, I guess that whole sort of well, I'll go back to this example now and scroll back to the Hundy. But even, I thought getting to 100K would be, that's when you start to figure out, that's when you start thinking about retiring.
6 digits.
What's that? So,
6 digits.
And really that's, I think it's about a 1 in 9 income in New Zealand, people that earn over 100 grand from their job. So now we're looking at tax of about 25K. You got KiwiSaver of 4K. You got 70 grand in the pocket, $1,300 a week. And I'm not saying that this isn't a big amount of money, because it is, and it's like I say, it's a 1 in 9 type income. It's then what you do with it, but it's again like, does it match to where you want to get to? So if you started saving 10% of that, you'd be saving 7 grand. So as soon as you got paid, you'd be saving your 10%, you'd end up with 7 grand at the end of the year. And you can see why in this day and age, people would be like, well, how am I going to buy a house? Like, is that going to be meaningful? If you did the same thing for the next 10 years and nothing changed, your income stayed the same, or we ignore inflation, you have 70 grand saved and 40 grand in your KiwiSaver, so you'd have 110 grand. Well, house prices have been increasing by 6 figures over the last 12 months. So you'd be feeling like you're getting left behind. And
yeah, when you look at it like that, it looks bloody grim, eh?
It does, mate. It does when you start to break it down. But when you like romance or romanticize over 6 figures, you're just like, well, if I could just get to that 6-figure income, then I, would have figured it out, or I would have clocked it. And it's not necessarily going to be the thing that makes you happy anyway. So you've got to be able to identify the vehicle that you're driving, as I say, and then figure out, do I need to change this if it's not in line with the things that you want to achieve in your life?
Yeah, I think a good, like, especially while we're in lockdown, I think it would be beneficial to people to like just think in your head, like, right, I'm 30 years old or whatever. How do I want this day to look in 10 years from now? Like what I'm doing, what my work looks like, what might be what car I'm driving, am I in Hawaii? And just like try and really pinpoint some things that you want and just pick them out. Like day-to-day stuff doesn't matter, like your life will change, you might get a girlfriend or whatever, but if you've got some things that you know that you really want and will make you happy, like figure those out, put them on paper, and then just be like, right, Hawaii trip every year costs 10 G's, new car is going to be 70. I want to live in this house that, it's $1 million or whatever, and like be right, just make the map. And then you've got to work it out. And it might come down to the fact that you need to choose to stop making 60 grand and make 120 and then just get on that track.
Nice. Yeah, I think the easy answer for everyone is like stop spending, decrease your spending. No one teaches people, hey, increase your income, because most people don't have experience with that.
So much, man. Like, I know, yeah, the banks and stuff don't like the spending, but man, I encourage the increase the income conversation more, eh?
Yeah.
Because that's an option. It's not like, yes, you can decrease your expenses, and that's a good thing for sort of long-term wealth and being able to invest and saving up for whatever you want. But like real money's made in increasing the income, not decreasing your expenses.
Yeah. Yeah. I think, to get raw for a second, like sometimes it can take like a death in the family or a death of like one of your friends and stuff like that to realize like, shit, life is short as well. And that it's important to try and go after the things that you do want to be doing. Like one thing that, I often, my mum and my stepdad, they would be on a Sunday saying like, oh, fuck, I've got to go to work tomorrow. And that was like a blessing for me in disguise, because I was like, well, I don't want to feel like that on a Sunday. So I've always chased something that's going to excite me or like be in a state where I don't think like that. And, in my household now, like if we get like that, we'll be like, hey, we shouldn't be talking like that. What's going on here? And unfortunately for my stepdad, like he died just before they were going to be like finally living their life and going out and exploring and doing the things that they'd wanted to sort of do the whole time, but they were creating a deadline before they could go and do it. And he died like, a week effectively before they were going to start doing that. And it's just that big like bang smack in the face of like, fuck, what was all this for? So you do have to
100%.
You got to enjoy your life like as you're going as well. And
Yeah.
It shouldn't take like a death of your friend or your family or whatever to be like, what am I doing with my life?
It does though.
It
does though. I had a mean shake up. I had my best mate die in a motorbike crash, and I was like, fuck, that's ruthless, eh? And then you've got two options after that. You're like, do we start speeding this up because we're all going to die, or do we just sit back and go along for the ride? Got to make that choice, eh?
Yeah. And, you've got to figure out what it is that you want. And I think the scary thing when you have someone close to you die, and I'm sure there'll be people listening to this that will have experienced, but for those that haven't, is that the world just keeps spinning, man. Like, and people care about you for 24 hours, and then bang, you're on your own. Like, they've got their own problems and stuff, and your world is just centered around this biggest like change to your life. And people, they still care, but they're like, everyone's dealing with their shit, and that's all good. And so,
in the scheme of things, it means nothing. Everyone just carries on.
But it is, man. Like life actually is pretty ruthless. Like you can think, okay, this is a huge deal, and then all of a sudden, like, nah. And you see it all the time when famous people die and stuff, and you're like, holy shit, that's a massive tragedy. And then 24, 48 hours later, like no one's talking about it. Everyone's then talking about the next thing that's happening or whatever. The world moves so fast.
Yeah, 100%. Couldn't agree more. It's definitely something that kicks you into gear. So take our advice and don't let that happen and just get on with it.
Yeah. Well, just always be thinking, we ask, Phil and I always ask, business owners, like, are you happy and are you enjoying it? Because, sometimes like we don't want them not to be, and we want to be having those tough conversations if they're not, because, that's when some things need to be done differently. And it's no different for us. Yeah. In terms of adding income, then I think we've done a little bit for Keep the Change previously as well. I think you touched on a good example of one of your clients where you said, hey, you're going to need to go to your boss and ask for a raise. And I think that is something for everybody to think about. I mean, it's tough in a time like this in the COVID environment with so much uncertainty for employers, but if things are going well again, like, if that's the only lever you've got to control your income, well, then you've got to get good at it and you've got to be brave enough to have a crack at it, right?
Yeah, I think so. I think like if you wake up in 20, 30 years and you never asked for a pay rise, you never know what could have happened, And there's like different ways to approach it, I reckon, too. Like you can walk in and say, hey, can I get paid more? Or you can say, hey, look, I want to double my income. How can we approach this? Like what what can I add to my role over the next year or something, or what would you like done extra in the company that I can fit into, or just be a bit more proactive with it.
Yeah.
I think you get way better results from approaching it like that, but rather than like the sort of entitlement approach where you're like, the guy's doing the same job as me and he's getting 70. Why am I only getting 60? Like, that doesn't achieve anything, and it doesn't leaves a sour taste in everyone's mouth. I think trying to encourage the boss to earn more as well at the same time, or for them to get something out of you.
Yeah, one of the things that I was taught is like, if you can help someone make money, they will remunerate you in some way, shape, or form. So often I am going out of my way for our clients to figure out, okay, how could I help recover this accounting fee or the fees that we're charging? Because it's then so much harder for them to be like, oh, fuck, they're just a cost. They're like, oh, that's actually an investment. But I had to get taught that to understand that. And I think it's the same with, if I had have known that as an employee, like I might have had braver conversations and said, hey, what are you trying to achieve? Like, is there a way that I can help us do that? What would that look like? Can I get a clip of that? Is that all good? And the closer you can get to the money flow, the better those and more productive and bigger those conversations can get, right?
Yeah. I don't know many like self-employed guys like the boss that wouldn't give up way more than like the 2IC roller's worth if they got a really good one. If you can be that person for someone, or whether it's your manager or your top boss or CEO or whatever, if you can be that person, I'm pretty sure you'll get remunerated correctly.
Yeah, nice. I did the side hustles webinar for people, and it's designed to get people thinking about different ways they could bring income into their household as well. So you might want to stay in your job. You might just want an extra 10K coming in each year, or a couple of grand. Like, who knows? It's everybody's different, but I think it's all the time. The thing to think about is like, what problem can I solve for people, and therefore what can I get paid to do that? And for some people, it might be as simple as mowing people's lawns.
Yep.
Yeah, and that's where you see like there's problems are always changing for people. So you want to like watch your market and go, okay, where's this different now? And I ordered in some meals, for instance, and this guy's business, he's like, mate, I'm just swamped going into lockdown because people are like, sweet convenience, and they're looking for it. He can deliver. It's essential, level 4, happy days. So he's solving a problem, but that problem may not exist on the other side of these lockdowns to the extent. So then he's got to figure out, how do I capitalize on it? But figuring out how to solve someone's problem is a great way to make extra money.
100%.
So even just go around your neighborhood and ask, hey, what problems do you have? And and then be the person that can solve it for them. There's that series, The Undercover Billionaire. That's exceptional to understand like how business works and how to be relentless in the chase for problem solving and being resilient and getting some income coming in as well.
Yeah, those guys are nuts, eh? Like, watch that show and they just rock into a town that they've never heard of before and like, right, this place needs this, this, and this. Let's go.
Yeah. And just
pretty crazy.
Yeah. Oh, mate, we've hit the 42-minute mark after going for 15. So any final thoughts from your end, mate?
No, I just reckon have a think and write down, and then if you do want to make some changes, it's your choice. Just go hard, eh?
Yeah.
Lockdown sucks, but you might as well use it for for some thinking and getting shit sorted for when we get out.
Yeah, and it comes down to like how bad you want things as well. Like often, think about when you're growing up, right? Like what your parents teach you effectively is like when you want stuff, and if they don't just give it to you, they're like, oh, well, you got to work for it. And then you learn that, when you're like, I really want that fucking Atari or whatever, like you're doing shit that you don't necessarily want to do because you're like, I want it bad enough and I want this. And you've got to decide if you're picturing the Hawaii holiday and the car and things that Mikey was talking about, like, is that the stuff that's going to drive you? Like, do you really want that? Because if it's not strong for you along that path as well, you're going to be like, oh, I started doing that, but I can't be bothered anymore because it's not driving you enough. And that's fine.
100%. Like, one of my things is like to be able to go fishing whenever I want. Like, and that's not a big deal. It just means that any day that I want to be able to afford to put the boat in and go use a whole tank of gas and fish all day.
Yeah.
So that becomes part of the calculation, right? It doesn't mean I'll do it every day, but
Yeah.
it's different from wanting a Lambo, you know. So it can be different things. You just have to work out what they are for you.
And when you get in control of your income, like you make a lot different decisions. And to give you an example from last week, I went and did a podcast with a younger fella who's selling some merch and stuff. And he said, once I left, he said, would you consider sponsoring the podcast? And I said, I'm going to be honest, man, like your demographic probably doesn't fit our target market, but I know how hard it is to try and get sponsorship for content and in podcasts and stuff. And I'm like, I don't really need to buy your merch, but I do want to support you. So I offered to sponsor it for a couple of weeks for Keep the Change. And I said, what does it cost? And he said how much it was. And I'm just like, okay, commit and roll on. If I had a fixed income, I'd be like, sorry, mate, like I'm comparing, okay, what does that cost divided by my total income? But I don't think like that anymore. I'm like, fuck, now I need to make that cash back.
Yeah. That's, I mean, the whole topic of being self-employed is huge, right? Like being in control of being able to do that. It's a game changer. Like I've said it before, I don't know how you can do it without it. Like there definitely are ways to earn lots of money as an employee, but I'm not good enough to be able to work those out.
I mean, I was in the wrong vehicle. Like accounting's basically mapped out for you when you start from day one. It's like you start here at 36,000, and then there are 16 steps to go to before you get to $500,000 a year. And that can be when you're probably in your late 30s to your 40s, and you're probably going to have to do some bad shit to get there as well. I'm like, oh wow, that seems like a great idea. And now, oh, thank God I got off that roller coaster.
Yeah. Like if the sponsorship things happen and like that conversation and you've got your like 120K a year salary, like you've already mapped out for the year what your money is for. Like know your life expenses are 50% of that. You know what you're doing with the other 20%. Like there's never any room left. You don't just throw away savings. Like that. Being able to control your income is a massive part of it.
Yeah, because you'll change your spending to match your income coming in. Josh has got a good question here. I think there's probably a gap in the market too. What support is available for people who want to sit down to make a plan but need some assistance? Like
that's what I do.
But Mikey will help you. And there are also financial advisors, but most that do personal finances and stuff like that. A lot of people, you've got to then think, okay, how are they trying to get remunerated? And they're trying to chase the fast money or the big investment money and things like that. So I think there is like a bit of a gap where
if you want to learn and you do want to make changes, spend $15 a month and get YouTube Premium and start searching up what you want to learn, because there is so much good content on there now, eh?
Yeah.
YouTubers, there's lots of comedy and like YouTubers doing dumb shit and stuff. But if you search for what you want to find out, man, there is some fucking good stuff on there, eh?
Yeah, I've probably had YouTube Premium for maybe 3 years now. I've never had Netflix, Sky subscription. Nah.
It's the best thing I ever did.
Yeah, I don't know how more Kiwis don't know about it. You can, no ads, you can, listen to things in your pocket. So, you can be working. And, I just did, even just this morning, I just did like a couple of hours of focused work that I need to get out in the accounting space, and just had some drum and bass just beasting in my head with the phone turned over, and like the world just carried on. And I was just super focused and got it done. But if I was having to look down and change the song on Spotify every time, or there's another ad telling me to buy some bloody air freshener or something, there's another distraction point. Yeah. So it's so valuable, and there's so much good content that you can learn from really smart people. And YouTube's got a great way of helping you find the people that you should be listening to, not just the bullshit. Yep, you can go down rabbit holes, but I think if you're at the point where you're paying for a premium subscription to something, you're probably going to be seeking out the information you really do want. They're not going to be serving you up shit that's going to take you down the wrong path.
Yeah, I barely search now. I just open it up and there's like new videos from the people that I have been watching, or it's like recommended for you, and it's all like finance and crypto and housing and whatever, you know, like it feeds me like it knows me.
Yeah. Oh, well, you know, the example the other day, like I've been recently listening to a guy who's scaled businesses in America.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, gym businesses. And I'm like, man, this guy's a wealth of knowledge, been listening. And I'm like, okay. Because I guess being in business, you're always looking for different ways people are doing things. And you know, I was really enjoying it. So I sent it to a mate who has gyms and was like, mate, you might want to keep an eye on this guy. He's pretty bloody knowledgeable and it's all free information. See what you can learn, see what you like. And then Mikey messaged me like a week later. He's like, mate, you should check this guy out. And I was like, wow, fucking YouTube, you know, it knows.
It knows what we're thinking.
Yeah.
It's crazy, eh? And it's not like a popular channel. Like when you look at his videos, they don't have high view counts, but the algorithm must be so good that it's like targeted us out as people that need to watch it, you know?
Yeah. YouTube Premium. And I think like a lot of the times we overcomplicate things as well. And so then we're like, okay, I need to watch 100 videos before I know what to do. And it's like, no, you know what to do. You need to take fucking action. That's what you don't know how to do, is to take action. And I had a younger person reach out to me yesterday and said, hey, mate, I wondered on the other side of lockdown, could I shout you coffee? I mean, I won't even go down that path, but he's like, I've done a business plan. I want to go out and have a look at this trade, probably not for a couple of years. And I'm like, mate, I'm like, two questions. My first one was like, what do you actually need help with? And he was like, oh, I got told, you know, you've got all the plan, you've got all the ideas, you got the direction, you should talk to someone that's been there and done it. And I was like, mate, you don't need to talk to me. You need to talk to someone in that trade. Get on the blower, ask them, hey, what do you do? But secondly, I'm like, that ain't going to take 2 years, man. That could take 2 days. You know, you need to, if you've got the plan, then you get some lessons from someone that's been and done it. The next thing is action, consistent action every day, not, I think I'll be ready in 2 years, because I fucking guarantee you, your life will be completely different in 2 years.
Yeah.
You need a whole new plan, and you have a whole
I think the best idea is to start yesterday if you're going to make changes, eh?
Yeah.
Taking
action.
Dive in, give it heaps.
And back to Josh's question there as well, like, and what I just said about that young person, that's often the advice I give to people that are thinking about starting a business is, I'm like, what business have you seen that's inspired you to do this? And often they're like, oh, well, I used to shop here, or I used to sign up to this, or in London I did this. And I was like, are there any competitors here in New Zealand? Like, yep, you know, it's this one. I'm like, ring them, email them, message them, do whatever you can, get a hold of one of them, find out what they did well, what they don't do well, what they'd do differently if they started again tomorrow. And I'm like, you'll be probably 2 or 3 years ahead of where you would be if you don't have that conversation, because you will avoid doing all the shit that, you know, you shouldn't do, and you'll do things better from the start. And Kiwis are so open to sharing those lessons.
Yeah, it's funny if you call an employer or someone in a company or something, most of the time they're quite happy to help.
Because business owners often get themselves to a place as well where they're like, they've got that abundance mindset of, okay, I know how to win now, therefore it's my fault if I don't. You know, you've had other mortgage advisors ring you and be like, hey, what should I be doing? If you were closed-minded, you'd be like, oh, mate, I'm not talking to you. You might end up cutting my lunch.
Yeah, no, you can't be like that.
Yeah.
That doesn't work.
And why doesn't it work, do you think?
Well, there's like a billion, I don't know, I don't even know what the numbers are. There's like billions of loans per week that go out the door. So I can't do them all.
Yeah, there you go.
Like, who cares? Yeah.
And you start to learn that, like, you know, that,
competition's good anyway. Like, if there's no market choice, then I don't know. I don't. If you worry about that stuff, it just drags you down anyway.
Yeah.
So from when I came into the mortgage industry, there was a couple of people that really helped me.
Yeah.
So, you know, I would ring this one girl, Megan. I'd ring her like every day asking her shit, you know, and she was awesome.
Yeah. That's the same when I put my hand in my pocket for the sponsorship for this podcast. As I said to him, I said, look, mate, I'm going to be honest. I don't really care what this leads to. The reason I'm doing this is because last year for BGP, we were out there trying to get sponsorship, and it was fucking draining and it was so hard. And I know that the battle that you've got to go through to get this. So this is a way for me to be able to repay, you know, good karma and the universe and stuff for looking after me last year, to be able to be like, okay, well, I was in the same position as you last year. I need to put my money where my mouth is now for my venture. And here you go. And he was just like, mate, you know, massive respect. But I've had to like teach myself to get myself into that position to be ready to do that, because previously I'm like, oh, no way, what's in it for me? Oh, yeah.
Yeah. There's some like good quotes around like giving and you get back sort of shit. I don't know how they go, but just be a legend and everything else will be all right.
That's it. Trust the process. All right, mate. Thank you for that.
Cool.
Hopefully we've got
some on for now.
Yeah. Oh, well, I guess we're both just passionate about seeing people have a crack at the things they like doing and getting away from that excuse mindset and thinking that everything's against them, because when you get away from that and start getting into control of your life and the things that you want and your outcomes, like everything just changes and quite quickly.
Yeah, for sure. I love seeing people have a crack and then pull it off, you know, like it's my favorite.
Yeah. Cool, mate. All right. Well, we both better get back to it. I think we've got a few more cases or something here today. So we'll probably see you online in the next 6 weeks.
Okay, mate. Cheers.